Hey everybody, this is Justin with Sillage Scents. I've got a video today with 10 of the best spring fragrances that money can buy. These are, every one of them, awesome. They smell amazing. And I'm covering every price range from $20 on up to $100 or so, maybe a little over. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let me know in the comments, which of these have you tried? What would you add to the list that are just amazing spring fragrances? And also, please subscribe to my channel. I am going to be doing a giveaway in this video. So stay tuned to the end so that you can be entered in the giveaway. And let's go ahead and talk about these amazing fragrances. The first one that I'll mention, this one's a cheapie because it is a clone, but it's a really good clone. This is LATTAFA FAKHAR Black. And so this one is actually a clone of YSL-Y. It's very similar to the EDP. Maybe if you were to mix YSL-Y Live and EDP together, it's a beautiful, oh man, I love the smell of this fragrance. It's a beautiful, sweet blue fragrance. And so this one, the Y fragrances are set apart from a lot of the blue fragrances because of the sweetness. There's a little bit of a floral quality. There's a little bit of an aromatic heart. This one, FAKHAR Black, is a killer fragrance for around, I think, $25 to $30. It's going to get you really close to YEDP, which is actually my favorite blue fragrances, one of my top 3 fragrances of all time. And I'll often put FAKHAR Black on one side, put YEDP on the other, and that works really well for me. All right, the next one we'll go with. This one is not a clone, but it is very affordable. This is one of my absolute best pickups of the past year. I got it for $36. This is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. This is the original DUNHILL Icon. What you're going to get with this one is a beautiful, fruity, some say like a fizzy grape soda kind of opening and on into the mid. Really that sort of grape soda vibe, which is just a unique kind of fruity opening, is going to last you throughout the fragrance. But the thing that's really interesting is in the base of this fragrance, you've got a little bit of leather, you've got some darkness that mixes with this fragrance. I kind of, sometimes fragrances remind me of like a color, and this fragrance, maybe this is dumb to say, but it reminds me of like a raspberry red with some darkness coming through, almost like a black that's coming through or something, because there's that bright, sweet, fruity opening, but some darkness with some woods and some leather that really just mingle with this fragrance and make it an absolutely magical scent. And this one does have some interesting development on my skin. I love the entire life of the fragrance, and it's a good 8-hour fragrance for me, maybe even a little longer. All right, the next one is not necessarily a clone. It's not from a clone brand, but it's going to remind you a lot of a fragrance. This is Guess 1981 Los Angeles. This is a $20 fragrance. Amazon, discounters, rack stores, you can get it everywhere for around that $20 price point. And this is really a slightly more ambery version of Versace Eros. I love this fragrance. It's about a 7 or 8 hour fragrance. It is a sweet fragrance. You are going to get that sweet apple mint opening. It's got a lot of vanilla that's going to come right from the opening. It is going to become more and more vanilla towards the dry down. But there's a little more amber in this fragrance that sets it apart a little bit from the Versace, and especially before it gets super hot. This is a great transitional weather fragrance. If you like Eros, you'll really like this one, and it's a little more mature than Eros as well, a little bit more grown up. It's an incredible buy for $20. Let's see, the next one we'll go with is the most expensive fragrance on the list, but it is a great fragrance. This is a flanker, an extrait version of another fragrance that was already awesome. This is MANCERA Intense CEDRAT Boise. This one has been described, Ross over at TLTG says that this is a wicker basket full of fruits. And that's, to me, the best description possible. It's been compared to Creed Aventus, although I don't necessarily agree with that description. It's a fruity opening with a sort of darker woodsy dry down, so I do get that. But you're going to get in this one a bright, tart, fruity fragrance, and that, bright fruitiness lasts throughout. But it does also have some leather and some oud towards the mid and the dry down that give it that kind of wicker basket feel, that sort of more dry, woodsy quality that mixes with the juicy, bright, tart fruitiness in the opening of the fragrance. If you like a fragrance like Aventus, especially more of fruity Aventus, then you'll absolutely love this one. And it is a great performer as well, although I go nose blind to this fragrance. I will smell it for a couple hours and then it's gone, and then I'll get a whiff of it 8 hours into the fragrance and realize that it's still pumping. But it's just the nature of the fragrance. A lot of people do go nose blind to it. Okay, next up, we'll go with one that is a clone of a $400 Creed fragrance. This is one that is a very, very close clone to Creed Millésime Imperial. This is ARMAF Club de Nuit Milestone. And so the Creed has a beautiful ambergris, is one of kind of the standouts of that fragrance and many Creed fragrances. And then you've got tropical fruits that mix with that ambergris. Well, this one, of course, it's not ambergris, it's ambroxan, but you get that same tropical fruit vibe. And the way that they use ambroxan in a couple of these ARMAF fragrances is so much like that sort of sweet, woodsy ambergris that you get in Creed fragrances. This is a great summer fragrance, but it's also a great spring fragrance because it's so bright that it really reminds me of whenever everything is kind of coming alive. There's also a bit of an aquatic feel to this fragrance. It's a really great clone, but even as a standalone fragrance for $25-ish, maybe $30, this is just a banger and one that really works this time of year. All right, next up, we're going to go with one that my understanding is it's been discontinued, but you can still buy it everywhere. It's still in many stores. It's still on all of the discounter websites, but it's probably going to be going away in the next year. So if you have not yet picked up PACO Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and pick it up. I've tried a ton of the 1 Million fragrances. I've got a couple of them. This one stands apart to me, one, because it really does work for warmer weather. It's not super saccharine heavy sweet like some of the 1 Million flankers are. This one has got ozonic notes, and it's also got a nutty quality. I believe it's hazelnut. So you do get a sort of bright, fruity, sweet, vanillic opening. But then as you go towards the dry down, this ozonic quality, this sort of airy quality, mixes with that sweet opening as well as this nuttiness. And it's kind of a dry nuttiness that mixes with those ozonic qualities. And after I've had this on for an hour or so, I don't really perceive it as a sweet fragrance. I perceive it as more of sort of an ozonic, airy fragrance with a nutty, sweet, fruity, or sweet quality. So it's a really great fragrance. It's pretty much an all year round fragrance as long as you don't, overdo it in the summer. Go with 2 or 3 sprays and you'll be just fine. But for the spring, 4 or 5 sprays. I wore it yesterday and it's, 75 degrees here where I'm at, and it worked beautifully. Next up, this is a clone I just discovered. I can't believe I didn't know about this one before. Lacoste L1212 White or Blanc, the white bottle, the square bottles that they have. This is a clone of that one, Lacoste Blanc. This is ARMAF Hunter. Not Hunter Intense. That one is a blue fragrance that's kind of Sauvage mixed with Invictus. But this one is Lacoste Blanc, and it is a great clone. I mean, the Lacoste fragrance was my kind of warm weather signature scent for a couple years until I ran out. My wife smelled it out at a store and bought it for me, and I absolutely loved it. What you're going to get with this one is a woodsy, floral, you know, slightly aromatic, or I should say slightly spicy. It's got a little bit of cardamom, but the woodsy floral quality, it's got ylang-ylang, it's got tuberose, it's got some citruses in the opening. It's got a woodsy dry down with some cedar and some things like that, olibanum and things like that. So it's a really good fragrance for, I think it's probably perfect for spring, but it works great in summer as well. Definitely a warm weather fragrance. It's not crazy unique from everything else out there, but it's definitely kind of a bright spring freshie that doesn't smell like everything else. It is a kind of musky, woodsy floral fragrance, although musk isn't listed in this one or the Lacoste notes anywhere that I've seen, but it's definitely got a kind of woodsy, musky, fruity dry down, not too dissimilar from what you get in Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, although this doesn't smell like light blue. There are some similarities in the second half of the fragrance. So ARMAF Hunter, the original, a great spring fragrance, very bright, something that fits well as we head into spring. The next one, this one is contending to be my favorite spring fragrance. This is a new pickup for me. I've smelled it in stores throughout the years, but I finally got a hold of it. I should have gotten it earlier, and this is another one that if you want it, you might want to pick it up soon because I think the writing is on the wall that this one's going away. This is John Varvatos Artisan Pure. This has got one of the most amazing openings in my collection. You know, think Elysium opening. You know, think something like Virgin Island Water or something like that. You've got this explosion of citruses. I think there's like 4 or 5 citrus notes. You've got also an aromatic heart. You've got several herbal aromatic notes in the heart. Then you get to the dry down, you've got some woods and I think some patchouli and things like that. It's just a beautiful, bright, somewhat complicated fragrance or complex fragrance. There's throughout the fragrance, you're going to be picking up on different elements, and that's what I love in this hobby is the nuances, the complexities. And as you wear a fragrance, my brain will lock into a note and I'll just enjoy that note for hours. Then the next time I wear it, my brain will lock into a different note and I'll enjoy a different note. And this one's got some of that kind of complexity, and it is beautiful for the spring and the summer. And this one is kind of a darling in the fragrance community for good reason. All right, this next one. This one's kind of a modern classic, and it's a fantastic signature scent. It's one you can wear all year round, and it's pretty unique. It's been cloned and copied, but the original DNA, they really were onto something when they made this one. I'm talking about just the original Terre d'Hermes. This is an earthy orange fragrance. Think orange and earthy vetiver. And that's what you're going to get with this one. And it's a very kind of light and airy fragrance, 4 or 5 sprays, and you're going to have an incredible sillage all day long. It's a very good performer, and it's one that you're just going to be getting wafts of throughout the day. You're going to leave a trail of this earthy orange everywhere that you go. And out of all of them in the line, this is the one I wanted to buy one around Christmas time. They're not cheap. You can get the 3.4 ounce for, I think, around $70, which is a pretty good deal. I think retail is probably more like $125. But out of the whole line, this is the one that I decided to go with. The performance is there. What I love about the fragrance DNA is best expressed in the original, and so you can't go wrong with the original EDT. I was surprised that it's a great performer, but it really is. Finally, number 10. This is one that is really kind of a summer darling in the fragrance community, but it really works well in the spring as well, as most summer fragrances do. This is Missoni Wave. And so this is an aquatic, beautiful, citrus, slightly aromatic or woodsy fragrance. If you've ever smelled Versace Pour Homme or Chanel Allure Homme Sport, it's been said 1,000 times, but it is absolutely true. Missoni Wave is like you took Versace Pour Homme and softened it a little and sweetened it a little, or it's like you took Chanel Allure Homme Sport and turned down the sweetness and the creaminess a little bit. It's right in between those two. I had seen videos of it and people saying that, but it is absolutely true. Versace Pour Homme I like. I don't love it because to me, there's something maybe slightly abrasive, if that's the word about it, but this one smooths down whatever that quality is. And I really do like Chanel Allure Homme Sport, that sweetness and that creaminess with a very similar smell to Versace Pour Homme. But this one has, you know, it's about halfway there in between, but it has the sweetness and the creaminess from the Chanel Allure Homme Sport, except this is like a $35 fragrance versus a $100 fragrance. And it does what I need it to do, gets me close enough to Chanel Allure Homme Sport. It's a beautiful, everyday scent, signature scent. It's one that I can't imagine anybody not really liking, and it works for almost every situation. So that was 10 fragrances. All of these I'm really looking forward to wearing in the spring. I've already started to wear some of them, but let me know what would you add to the list down in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for those of you who have joined me these last 4 or 5 months. We broke 1,000 last week, so I'm excited about that. Finally, we are doing a giveaway as promised. If you want to win a 5 ml decant of Terre d'Hermes, if you've never tried it, this is a banger and one that I think is going to be relevant for decades to come. 5 ml decant, all you've got to do is be subscribed to the channel, like the video, and comment down below, and you will automatically be entered into the giveaway. So do those things, and I will announce next week on the community tab who the winner is. So thank you so much. I'll see you on the next video.